Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Happy Monday. It is a mild start to the morning with temperatures 49 to 54 degrees. I'll show you which parts of the area get close to 70 again today. Coming up.
Remembering Jimmy Carter, those who knew the 39th president are sharing their condolences.
I think we are better off as a country because Jimmy Carter served as president.
How people in North Carolina are remembering the former president after his death.
And 4 dead and 1 from North Carolina after storms tore through the southeast. A look at the damage from that tornado spawning system. Thank you so much for joining us here in the 6 o'clock hour on WRAL. We always appreciate your time. I'm Ken Smith in for Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Great to have you with us. It's a mild start, and we're going to get into the 60s once again today. Chris Michaels is tracking our Monday morning weather. Chris, good morning.
Good to see you guys. Yeah, starting out really nice and comfortably so far. A little windy at times, but nothing we can't handle. A nice clear sky as we give you a live look from the tall tower camera in southeastern Wake County. Fayetteville, good morning. You're at 53. Ditto for Goldsboro, just shy of that in Raleigh at 52. Southern Pines and Roanoke Rapids, here's some of the cool spots in the mid to upper 40s. Regardless, whether it's errands or exercise today, you've got a smooth sailing kind of morning out there. Midday, we're in the upper 50s and lower 60s with high temperatures mainly in the mid 60s. But as you head farther south into the Sandhills, you make a run at near 70 degrees. We'll be just about that warm for our New Year's Eve with a few isolated showers that should clear by the ball drop. I'll show you the narrow time frame for those isolated showers coming up in just a bit. Eric?
Chris, taking a look at traffic here this morning. It has been green all morning long. Taking a look at that traffic map all the way across. No major backups, delays, or crashes to tell you about, at least not just yet, just after 6 in the morning. Taking a live look outside here right now. This is going to be NC 147 at Chapel Hill Road. Checking back in on those folks in Durham. You can see traffic flowing nice and smooth there. No major issues. Same situation, I-440 at Glenwood Avenue. So drive safe out there this morning.
Eric, thanks. Memorials for former President Jimmy Carter are growing after he died at the age of 100. And that includes this tribute that is growing outside the Carter Presidential Center in Atlanta. President Joe Biden has scheduled Carter's state funeral for January 9th in Washington. That will also be a national day of mourning. Carter died yesterday at his home in the small town of Plains, Georgia. He'd been in hospice care there for more than a year and a half. Carter was the 39th president, and he lived longer than any other former president in U.S. history. We're hearing tributes to Carter from both sides of the political aisle, including from President Biden, who addressed the nation last night.
There's millions of people all around the world, all over the world, feel they lost a friend as well, even though they never met him. And that's because Jimmy Carter lived a life measured not by words, but by his deeds.
President-elect Donald Trump also remembered Carter in a post to Truth Social, saying in part, he worked hard to make America a better place, and for that, I give him my highest respect. He was truly a good man and, of course, will be greatly missed.
Jimmy Carter made many visits to North Carolina in his life. WRAL's Laura Levine joins us live this morning from the state capitol building in Raleigh. Laura, good morning to you. Many people in our state have fond memories of President Carter.
Renee, good morning. Those tributes this morning here in North Carolina are pouring in as many people remember the 39th president of the United States. Here at the state capitol building behind me, we do expect to see the flags fly at half-staff later today. But many people here are remembering him as an extraordinary leader and humanitarian. President Carter, he wore many hats. Carter was a businessman, Navy officer, evangelist, politician, negotiator, author, woodworker, and citizen of the world. Carter played a pivotal role in bridging the gap between the aftermath of Watergate and the beginning of the Reagan era. Now, Thad Woodard of Raleigh, he's among those here in our state remembering President Carter. They met when he campaigned here. Carter held a speech that helped him win North Carolina in the 1976 election. Woodard and his wife later had the opportunity to attend Carter's Sunday school class in Plains, Georgia.
When we got there to shake his hand, he looked me just right in the face and said, "Thank you for bringing me to North Carolina." And I'll never forget that moment.
Governor Roy Cooper, of course, also posting a statement and sharing that statement last night. He says, "Today we lost an icon who was the epitome of what it means to be a true public servant in and out of office." Of course, President Joe Biden did declare January 9th as a national day of mourning. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Well, longtime WRAL anchor David Crabtree interviewed Jimmy Carter several times. David first sat down with Carter when the former president came to our studios to talk about his book, A Remarkable Mother. He spoke lovingly about his mother and the causes she fought for so dearly. He also showed off a bit of sense of humor while talking about his mom.
Quite often, the next day, I would have a press conference at the White House, and the first question would be, "Mr. President, how do you respond to what your mother said on Merv Griffin last night?"
Well, we caught up with David last night to talk about his experiences with the former president. Well,
Jimmy Carter wouldn't remember my name, but I remember his name, and I remember his kindness. And I think we are better off as a country because Jimmy Carter served as president.
Well, you hear David talking about the time he spent with him and the time the two spent together during interviews.
And former President Barack Obama can release a statement remembering Carter. He says, in part, President Carter taught all of us what it means to live a life of grace, dignity, justice, and service. Michelle and I send our thoughts and prayers to the Carter family and everyone who loved and learned from this remarkable man.
Well, Senator Ted Budd also and his wife extending their condolences to the Carter family, posting this on X. Budd says, "We respect his service to our nation and to others throughout his significant charitable work after his presidency."
And our other U.S. Senator from North Carolina, Tom Tillis, says Carter will be remembered for his passion for helping those in need, his robust and unshakable faith, and his commitment to public service. Now, coming up this morning on Today, how the world is remembering the life and legacy of former President Carter.
Other news now, a woman accused of killing her daughter in Harnett County is due in court today. Deputies were called to a home on Rainmaker Street near Linden Saturday afternoon. When deputies arrived, they found 23-year-old Tiffany Crosby dead in a car in that driveway. The sheriff's office says Crosby and her mother, Victoria Crosby, got into a fight. Deputies say Victoria Crosby shot and killed her daughter. She is facing a murder charge.
We're working to learn more about a situation where Raleigh police say a girl attacked her own mother with a knife. The WRAL Breaking News Tracker was at this apartment complex on Daybrook Circle as police responded just after 11 yesterday morning. This is near the Carytown Boulevard exit off I-40. Police say the mother was cut on her chest. She was taken to the hospital and is expected to recover.
A man died as severe weather passed through our state. State Highway Patrol says it happened in Iredell County, just north of Charlotte. They say a tree fell onto a truck on a road around 10 yesterday morning. A 70-year-old man who was in that truck died. There were multiple tornado warnings in that part of the state yesterday as the storms came through.
Today, a balloon release will honor Zion Gibbs on what would have been his 8th birthday. Gibbs was killed in a drive-by shooting. Since then, his family has organized several charity events in his name. Today's balloon release is at 4 p.m. at Fayetteville's Lake Rim Park. The family requests that people bring white balloons, and free cake will be given to all children at the event.
A record-setting holiday travel season is winding down, but AAA projects busy highways again today as people make their way home. The agency says you should expect heavy traffic between 5 and 7 this evening. It says the best time to be on the road will be anytime before 2 this afternoon. AAA says more than 107 million people were expected to be traveling by car during the holidays. Homelessness is up 19% in North Carolina in the last year. While local shelters say the number is not surprising to them.
And federal health officials are concerned about a new mutation of the bird flu, how this version is better able to infect humans.
And our tower remains lit up with a nice clear sky outside of Western Boulevard, but some more clouds may give us a few New Year's Eve showers. I'll walk you through the very narrow timeline of those coming up.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
6:12 on our Monday morning. Yesterday, the wind whipping as that line of rain came through. The peak gusts ranged anywhere between 30 and 50 miles per hour. Thankfully, you don't have to deal with anything quite like that today, but it is a little bit of a breezy start, and you especially see that at the Whirligig Park there in Wilson, where everything seems to be moving. Lately, wind speeds have been about 5 to 15 miles per hour, and gusts today as we head late morning into the afternoon, about 15 to 20 miles per hour. So a far cry from the 30 to 50 that we saw with that line of rain just yesterday. So not expecting any issues out of that, but the winds have changed blowing, especially as we head into the first couple weeks of 2025. Much colder air on the way. We'll walk you through the timeline coming up in just a little bit.
Taking a look at traffic here this morning, things are nice and smooth to start off your Monday. Green all the way across that board. No major backups, crashes, or delays to report just yet. Taking a live look outside right now. This is going to be I-440 at Glenwood Avenue. You can see things still nice and calm out there. Folks on the Beltline getting their day started there. Similar situation as we take a look at NC 147 at Chapel Hill Road. Just a couple of people on the road here after 6.
An Israeli attack killed at least 8 people at a refugee camp in Gaza. Palestinian officials say at least 15 others were wounded. This comes as northern Gaza's last major hospital is out of service after an Israeli military raid. The hospital is in an area that has been under siege for more than 80 days. Israeli forces stormed it, saying it was a Hamas stronghold. Israel says it arrested more than 200 terrorists inside. The hospital's director was among the people who were arrested.
Homelessness is up 18% nationwide in the last year. The federal government recently releasing that data. Here in North Carolina, the increase is around 19% and even higher. The Durham Rescue Mission is seeing the increase in homelessness firsthand. It is showing itself in everything from the number of beds that are full each night to the demand for the shelter's Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners.
We are seeing roughly a 16% increase at the Durham Rescue Mission. We're praying for less, but we're prepared for more.
The federal report cites multiple factors contributing to the rise in homelessness. They include natural disasters, the end of the pandemic era assistance programs, and of course, inflation.
As North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper's final term winds down, we took time to update the WRAL Promise Tracker. It's one of our many efforts here at WRAL to hold government leaders accountable. As they have for years, our NC Capitol team has been tracking Cooper's progress on a number of different campaign promises: school funding, broadband access, greenhouse gas emissions. We tracked how well his administration has followed through on political promises. Cooper was able to accomplish many of them, but others fell short due in part to the political landscape. Cooper is a Democrat. The state legislature is led by Republicans. Check out our final grades of Cooper's promises by searching Promise Tracker at WRAL.com.
Humans may be more at risk of being infected by the newest mutation of the bird flu, the H5N1. That's according to federal health officials. Studies of a patient in Louisiana who contracted the disease show the new version of the virus is binding to receptors in the upper airway. More than 60 human cases have been reported in the U.S. 38 have been in California. All but one were infected by dairy cows or poultry. The source of one case is unknown. At this point, there's no evidence of human-to-human spread.
Human-to-human transmission is what is required for a pandemic. We don't have it yet. We have to watch, though. And of course, we have real concern about that. And that's why we need to track this and regulate this very closely.
Epidemiology experts say we are better prepared for a bird flu outbreak than we were for COVID-19. Labs have been developing H5N1 vaccines since the 90s, and 400,000 vaccines are in federal vaccine stockpiles ready to be used.
We are awaiting official statements from the ACC and from the NC State and East Carolina's athletic departments after their bowl game brawl. The fight broke out near the end of the Military Bowl between the teams Saturday night. 5 NC State players were ejected, along with 3 ECU players. A member of the officiating crew was cut under his eye during the fight. It took officials a full minute to bring things under control. ECU went on to win the game 26-21.
Well, you still have time to help children in our area stay warm this winter. Scan the QR code on your screen right there to donate, or go to WRAL.com/coats. You can also drop off a new or used coats at participating Jiffy Lube locations. WRAL's Coats for the Children drive continues through tomorrow. Whether it's mild or whether it's really cold, a coat is always needed. Let's get over to meteorologist Chris Michaels in the WRAL Severe Weather Center tracking the mild start to our day.
Yeah, mild start, but the coats are definitely going to be needed as we head into the later part of the week and the upcoming weekend. But right now, Raleigh, Durham, and Fayetteville, temperatures in the low to mid 50s, mainly clear sky out there. So already starting out with temperatures close to our average high. By this afternoon, things are going to feel a little bit more like March out there. Raleigh and Durham at 66, Fayetteville 69 degrees, Roxborough at 64 this afternoon, and a little bit on the breezy side after yesterday's system. We're not going to see the gusts of 30 to 50 miles per hour, but they'll be about 15 to maybe 20 miles per hour coming in out of the west. After 5 or 6 p.m., the wind will start to calm down a little bit. So that'll allow us to cool a little bit more by first thing tomorrow morning. South Hill at 40, Southern Pines at 42, ditto for Durham, and Goldsboro at 43 first thing out the door tomorrow morning. New Year's Eve is mostly dry, partly to mostly cloudy, but after 2 or 3 p.m. can't rule out a few stray showers. Notice that the coverage is going to be very limited, moving in from west to east, and by 7 or 8 p.m., most of it's out of here, and the chance already pretty limited. But as you head toward midnight, things look drier, so things will be pretty nice for first night in Raleigh, and WRAL is going to be out there bringing in the new year. Temperature tomorrow in the 60s by the afternoon. By 7 p.m., upper 50s. By 11 p.m., we're still in the low to mid 50s, but some big changes on the way. The weather's like new year, new me. You're going to feel it. Temperatures by Thursday and Friday having a hard time getting out of the 40s. Our low temperatures below freezing, nothing crazy there. Heading into the weekend, temperatures topping out in the 40s, even colder air beyond that. Look beyond the 7 days, see if there's any potential for wintry weather coming up in the next half hour. Here's Eric with traffic.
Yeah, Chris, I know you and me are we're gonna be cranking the heaters coming in next weekend. But until then, we get to enjoy this right here, green all the way across that traffic map. No major issues to start off your New Year's week. Taking a live look outside right now. This is I-440 at Glenwood Avenue. No major backups or delays. Traffic flowing on the Beltline nice and smooth. Those drive times as you're coming into the city today, really not seeing anything in the way of delays. We're looking at zeros all the way around the map. Maybe an extra minute if you're coming in from Wake Forest.
Eric, thanks. Buddy the Elf was spotted at the Kings game. Oh, take a look at the holiday outfit the Elf actor wore while watching his hockey team play. And Buddy smokes? What?
Who knew? And a Mayan trial run for New Year's Eve. The practice confetti release held in Times Square.
And ahead on today, the love story of Jimmy Carter and his wife, Rosalind.
But before we go to break, here's a look at your winning lottery numbers.
This What's Trending report, sponsored by Rug & Home.
Nothing makes the way to the playoffs better than a post-game proposal.
Yeah, and Buddy the Elf making an appearance at a hockey game. Time for a look at what's trending.
Okay, so first, after the team's overtime victory against the Falcons, the Washington Commanders defensive back Jeremy Reeves popped the question to his girlfriend, Michaela Worley. And Worley said yes. Now Reeves has a fiance to go along with his ticket to the playoffs, living his best life right now.
Yeah, they've known each other since high school, and he said, man, that ring was burning a hole in my pocket. So he decided, he gave her family the heads up on Friday. He says, if we win this game, it's going down. And it went down. Good for them.
And when you make it very public, you better be sure she says yes.
Exactly.
But that seemed like a done deal.
Exactly. Well, Buddy the Elf making a surprise visit to the LA Kings hockey game last night against the Philadelphia Flyers. Will Ferrell is not letting the holiday season end just yet, donning the costume of his 2003 character. He isn't looking too jolly in this video, though, but the Kings were able to score twice in the third, eventually taking the win 5-4.
Oh, Buddy, what happened to you? I mean, you're looking a little worn. Smoking now? Okay. And beer is not in the food groups of candy canes, candy corns, and syrup. Okay.
And a cigarette.
He's branching out.
Well, there you go.
All right.
It's Will Ferrell.
The Buccaneers had an unusual lucky charm during their win over Carolina. A duck showed up on the field during the third quarter. It watched as the Bucs blocked a Panthers punt and returned it for a touchdown. After the play, a member of the grounds crew worked to get the duck off the field. As the crowd's chanting, "Ducky, ducky," the duck wasn't overly cooperative, but it was eventually let off.
Oh, boy. Here's to the duck. Well, the confetti is officially ready for New Year's Eve in Times Square. Yesterday was the annual confetti test. Organizers threw multicolored confetti to make sure everything worked properly. 3,000 pounds of confetti will be released at midnight on New Year's Eve. Well, this year, the confetti pieces have wishes written on them that were submitted in person and virtually to the Times Square wishing wall.
Definitely looks like a fun time there. Meanwhile, coming up in the next half hour, it's a late March feel to the air today. I'll show you how long that sticks around before Arctic air makes its return to North Carolina.
A balloon release to honor a child lost to gun violence. When you can participate in an event to mark what would have been Zion Gibbs's 8th birthday.
And a massive storm system brought tornadoes to the southeast. How it affected parts of North Carolina, including a death in Iredell County.